What's the greatest poker story you have been told? The best one I read recently is a story by poker journalist Paul Satan, and it took him 10 years to find out if it was fact or fiction. This is the story of Huck Seed's prophetic dreams and the millions he supposedly lost due to an error made by a WSOP staff member. You'll never guess how it happened. Before I continue with this video, let me introduce you to Universal Poker. If you're playing online poker without a good poker affiliate, you're missing out on extra value. Universal Poker are one of the world's largest poker affiliates, working with the most reputable sites in the industry to provide players exclusive promotions and dedicated support. These promotions include extra rakeback, enhanced deposit bonuses, free rolls, and more. Visit universalpoker.com today and start maximizing your value on your favorite poker sites. Check link in description. T. Boone Pickens, an American business magnate, once said that the toughest challenge is earning your first $1 million. Although he was referring to business, the same principle applies to poker. Huck Seed won his first million in 1996, winning the WSOP main event. His win was no fluke. During that time, he was regarded as one of the world's top poker players. Only 295 players competed in the main event, which included all the leading pros and very few amateurs. At the final table, Huck Seed overcame renowned players like John Monetti and Men the Master, ultimately defeating Bruce Van Horn in a heads-up match. They say that on the eve of the final table, Huck Seed had foreseen a prophecy. So Huck Seed goes to bed before the final table and has a dream in which he wins $1 million. Upon awakening, he felt an undeniable certainty about the eventual victor at the final table. After all, $1 million in those days was only given to the winner. Then the story gets even better, because Huck Seed did not have just one dream about winning $1 million. He had two. Several years after his 1996 main event victory, the legend continued, with Huck Seed having another dream of winning $1 million. As the story goes, he was again deep into the main event. The night before the penultimate day, he went to sleep and experienced the same dream as before, a vision that he would win $1 million the following day. To get $1 million, it was no longer necessary to take the first place. Due to the massive increase in the number of participants, Huck Seed only needed to reach the final few players. Down to the final two tables, Seed was all in for a big pot and lost with pocket queens all in pre-flop against the ladies' pocket eights. An 8 came on the river and Huck Seed crashed out a few hands later, his loose change which was mopped by another player. He was informed by the floor staff that he was eliminated in 14th place. Huck was confident that he would secure a $1 million prize. After all, his vision had proven accurate a few years ago, so why not now? Then a realization struck Huck. The money he had won, nearly $30,000, could potentially be multiplied into $1 million if he had placed it on the right number on the roulette wheel. Despite the odds being 1 in 36, Huck couldn't shake the feeling that he had a premonition, one that had previously come to fruition. Huck located a roulette table and confidently instructed the dealer to place all of his winnings on the number 14, the same position where his main event run ended. The anticipation in the air was palpable as casino staff and onlookers gathered around the table, forming a close-knit circle in anticipation of the outcome. The most celebrated figure in the world of poker was on the brink of either winning big or losing everything in just 30 seconds. As the money was laid out on the table, the small silver ball was set into motion, carrying the hopes of $1 million outcome. With bated breath, spectators watched as the ball circled around and around until it eventually landed in the 14th slot, only to bounce out and come to rest with a final thud on the number 13. The dream turned out to be a dud. Huck Seed, utterly distraught, returns home from the casino and crawls into bed, his mind consumed with the question of how such a turn of events could have transpired. However, things were about to take an unexpected turn. In the morning, Huck Seed receives a phone call from the organizers of the World Series. They offer profuse apologies for a technical mishap. It emerges that Huck Seed was actually eliminated not in the 14th place, but in the 13th. As a result, they owed him a few $1,000s. But they actually owed him much more, didn't they? His vision had been accurate. The ball landed on the number 13. if he had bet on the number corresponding to his actual position in the main event, he would have won the $1 million. However, there were a few inconsistencies in the story. The year was never explicitly mentioned, but after some research, it became evident that the events must have occurred in 1999, the second and the final time to date that Huck Seed reached the WSOP final table. However, the vision does not align with an elimination outside the final table. Huck Seed actually finished 6th and earned $167,000 as a result. 9th place, in contrast, only won $64,000, nowhere near the $1 million prize. Therefore, any vision preceding the penultimate day would have been incorrect. Furthermore, there were no female players at the final table, and the scenario of queens against eights never occurred. Huck's hand of Jack 8 was defeated by the eventual winner Noel Furlong's Ace 3. In 2022, Paul managed to contact Huck and they briefly discussed the story. Paul had mustered up the courage to inquire about the particular poker legend because so many facts just did not add up. Huck confirmed his doubts, stating that he had never experienced any visions like that. The revelation took a turn for the worse when Huck admitted that he had never directly used his tournament winnings at the roulette table. The incredible tale may have been ingloriously debunked by its main figure, but it continues to live on, not because of its accuracy, which frequently gets distorted when passed from one person to another, but because of its legendary status.